Afternoon and welcome to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Nathan Zagura here in Berea, and very happy to be joined today by my broadcast partner, the play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns from ESPN Los Angeles, Andrew Siciliano.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes.
How we doing?
Doing great.
Good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Good to see you. Good to have you back stateside. You've been an international man of mystery, gallivanting around the world as your playground. How you doing?
Dude, it's good to be back. Like I said, it's good to be back in the US of A. It's good to be back in a professional radio studio.
It's a beautiful studio.
It's good to be back with you. My body clock is still beyond upside down. Yesterday, I woke up at 3:30 in the morning.
Wow.
Today, progress, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm not jet lagged. It's just that my clock is beyond
It's hard to go back west.
up, and I'm eating at all hours. First world problem.
Yeah.
Everything is good.
Everything's
Other than that.
By the way, you should know that
good.
your 4:30 wake-up call, that's my mom's standard. That's how she rolls. Nana, the official Nana of CB.
Every day?
Every day. Every day, 4:30.
I don't mind. For years and years and years, I was up at 5:45 every day. I'm still pretty much up at 5:45 every day. It was the 3:30 2 days ago that turned me upside down. Like at 3:30, I'm making coffee and pounding out emails. I was out of the country for 12 days, and so whatever. Like wake up, pay bills, do laundry, catch up on emails. I didn't mind it, but then at 10 a.m. you want lunch.
Yeah.
Or 9:30, you want lunch.
It's the thing.
Yeah, again, first world problem.
It is certainly tough to get going back. As I said, coming back west, I think, is always very tough. I remember the one time from Cleveland that I went to Hawaii, which is, I guess, 6 hours behind. And you're probably out there where you are. You're probably 9 hours behind where you were in France.
It was 9 hours from France, and before that, I was in the Middle East. I was 10.
Okay. So that is tough. Like, to me, when I went to Hawaii, I was up every morning eating breakfast at 5. I'm fine getting up at 7-ish, but I don't need it at 5:40. That's, to me, that's tough. And the Nana program, 4:30, not great. So you've had a lot of great travels. I know you were out there and how do you pronounce, is it Roland Garros? Am I saying it right? I know that you got me on my other international pronunciations.
Yeah, I'll say Roland Garros. Yes, I was laughing, listening.
How do you say that city? How do you actually say it?
So you guys were talking about Joe Thomas and the Galapagos.
Yeah, right.
And you said the capital of Ecuador was Quito.
It should be. Quit.
It's Quito. Did you never take a Spanish class?
Dude, no.
What did you take in school?
Oui, je parle français.
Okay, you're asking me how to say Roland Garros, and
because to me, so this is when it occurred to me, looking at it, that sounds like Roland Garros sounds like he should be in Spain.
That's fine. People call it Roland Garros. That's fine.
But then you go into his real name,
Quito.
Quito. See, to me, keto is like getting into ketosis, which is Keto. Is this a keto-friendly bread? If you're having bread with the Hoff, guess what? It's keto-friendly.
That's fine. No, the capital of Ecuador is Quito. I laughed out loud, and it was one of those moments where I wanted to talk back to my radio, except it was
ugly American. That's me being an ugly American.
I was walking through the airport in Paris with my headphones on, going to get on the plane, going to fly home. I'm listening to your OTA preview show, and you're like, yeah, he's in Quito. Like, how do you even get to Quito? And I'm like, oh, my God. Help.
You're much more of a world traveler than I am. Much more, significantly
that's
so.
Fine. It's Spanish. It's like every 7th grade kid in Spanish class.
But I never took a Spanish class, so forgive me.
Okay, that's fair.
My kids, though.
And my French is awful.
My kids would both know it. Like, I did well enough to get around Paris when I was there. They were very appreciative of my efforts.
There you go.
Did you know this? So I looked it up because Roland Garros, I'm like, how is this guy synonymous with the French Open? And obviously the story is an aviator and a pioneer, French aviation pioneer. Do you know his real name?
No.
Eugene Adrien Roland Georges Garros. So that's a little more French to me. Now when you get the Eugene and the Adrien and the Georges, like a Georges Sank, Garros. That's the whole thing. So it's interesting to me. Roland is actually the third of 5 names. Garros the last name that he went by Roland.
All I know is I had a good time. It was on my bucket list. I was there for a day. Day 1 of the French Open. I had a grounds pass.
So that was a bucket list, first time.
That was a bucket list. Yeah, it wasn't like the all access ticket. I couldn't go to the big court, but I could go to like every other court and walk around, have a good time.
Okay.
Have a couple of beers, enjoy the scene, the festival. Like day 1, everyone's having a good time, having a beer and enjoying the weather. A little rain delay in there for a little bit. Saw our guy Tommy Paul, his first round match. He just won another 5-setter today to I believe move through the 3rd.
Nice.
It was awesome, man. Like, I can't recommend it enough. I'm fortunate to be able to do these things in some free time in the off season and check the box bucket list. It was pretty cool.
So are you a tennis aficionado? Is it a bucket list because it's tennis? Is it a bucket list because it's in Paris? What made that a bucket list for you?
It was a bucket list because it is a great sporting event.
Got it. Okay.
Went to Wimbledon, won, same thing. Walked around on day 1.
Okay.
Went to the French Open now, got that one as well. I appreciate the big events. Why not? Like,
yeah, of course.
If you can get the ability to get in the door and see it and say you did it and experience it, like it's like when you walk in, you're like, okay, I get it. This is cool. I am not the biggest tennis fan.
Okay.
I'm not watching your average ATP tour stop in Cincinnati. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
For sure.
I can't tell you who's moving up and down the rankings every week. No. Do I watch the majors? Sure. Absolutely. Like golf. I'm not watching your average PGA Tour stop. I'm just not. Am I going to watch the majors? Yes. Are you more of a golf fan than me? Yes.
Yes.
Is going to the U.S. Open going to mean more to you than it does to me? Yes. I've been fortunate, though, to go to the U.S. Open, and I respect it. And anytime, look, we're lucky to do what we do.
Totally.
I am. There isn't a day I wake up, and I really do mean this. I mean, there are days when you want to punch the wall. There are days when you get frustrated at work. I mean, all of us, no matter what the job is. And our job is no different. But I am fortunate. We are fortunate to do what we do. And every chance that I have, I paid for this ticket. I didn't get a free ticket. That I have to go to a cool event and go, you know what? Life is good. This is fun. I'm going to do it. And I was in Paris, and I said, let's go.
All right. What sporting events are left on your bucket list?
I want to go to the Indy 500. Did not have a chance to do that. Memorial Day weekend, same day, actually.
Yep.
I would love to go to any F1 race. And the day I went to the French was the day of the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yep, that's pretty cool.
It was I have a friend who was there who, when they saw my IG that I was in Paris, texted saying, "Oh, why aren't you here?" I'm like, "Okay, cool, thanks. Now you tell me." French Open isn't a bad second place. It's what I wanted all along.
Yeah.
I would love to go. I've never gone to the U.S. Open in New York. That's always during training camp.
Yep.
Right? The U.S. Open, the Tennis Open. I want to do that. I've been to Daytona. I want to go to a World Cup match.
Yep.
Somewhere, and we're going to get the chance because that's coming to the States, obviously.
Yep.
And I want to go to El Clasico. So Real Madrid, FC Barcelona.
FC Barcelona, of course.
In either one of their buildings, I would like to go to El Clasico one of these days.
I like it. So that's a good list for me. I still want to go to Augusta. I still have not been to Augusta. I still want to go to.
I've been there a few times.
A British Open, the Open Championship.
Yeah.
Formula One, we might be able to hit. I mean, when we're in Vegas, right? Isn't it the same weekend?
It's the night before. So Browns Raiders second straight year in Vegas. The game's in November, and yeah, the night before. I forgot about that. Night before is F1.
All right, so that's a potential.
Which means we may have to stay like in Phoenix.
Yeah, we're not staying. Yeah, hopefully that one's booked already. My guess is that would be. It's done. Vegas
is a disaster during F1.
Yeah, I'll try to find out where
it's an absolute disaster during F1.
Well, hopefully if we stay kind of up where we did last time, we're just not going to be going down to the strip, I think is what it means. That just means
Yeah, I'm totally down. You want to go to the race? Let's find a way to go to the race on Saturday night.
staying local. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we can tie that into our typical night before game duties and be like, hey, why don't we do these duties at the race?
I'll tell you right now, I don't need another steakhouse in Vegas. If you want to go to the F1 race, let's go.
Let's go. And then I would like to go to a World Cup game, and I'd especially like to see Croatia. That would be pretty cool for me. That would be a good one. No WrestleMania for you? Have you seen a WrestleMania?
I have zero interest to go to a WrestleMania.
It's the showcase of the Immortals. It's the granddaddy of them all.
It's like going to the theater when you don't care about the show.
Wow. Man.
No, it's going. Hold on. We do agree that it's like it's going to the theater, right? You're going to see a dramatic performance.
Correct. A very sporty
right?
theater.
Okay, we agree on that.
Yeah, yes.
And the storyline, right? The story arc.
Yes,
It doesn't interest me.
Fair.
It just
You wouldn't like to see the spectacle of it,
you're
though?
going to the theater.
So it's a heck of a spectacle.
I don't care.
Oh, man. All right.
I guess.
Because you won't go then. You won't be going.
I'm
Brock,
not
will
a
you
fan.
go with me?
Okay,
You go to
let's-
WrestleMania? No? No, Brock either? G-Man would
Okay,
go.
let's put it this way. What is your favorite? What's your favorite show right now you're watching? Penguin is over.
I
What are you
know.
watching?
Last of Us just ended. And
Last of Us just ended.
Yeah.
I saw that on the plane on the way home.
right now we're starting Andor. And I'm into it because I love Star Wars.
Andor's fantastic. It's the best Star Wars product ever made. Period.
Wow.
Nothing's even close. Nothing is
Like
even close.
outside
It's
of the
watching
core?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It is like watching a Sunday night HBO show.
That's how I feel
It
about
is
so far.
real,
Yep.
real dialogue, real acting,
Yep.
real adult themes. It is a real show that happens to be a Star Wars show.
Well, that's why Rogue One was. I felt that's how I felt about Rogue One as a movie. I thought Rogue One is the best.
And it's the prequel to Rogue One.
Yep.
So let's pick a show. Let's pick Severance. You watch Severance? No.
Yep.
Let's pick
Love Severance.
Handmaid's Tale. Do you watch Handmaid's Tale?
No.
Okay, perfect. Here's my example. So if I invited you to watch
The
a
season
live performance of Handmaid's Tale,
Yeah.
would you be interested? You don't watch the show.
Is it?
So I wouldn't want to go watch a live performance of a wrestling stage play because I don't watch the show. And to me, there's no difference.
So here's where I would say that it is different. Is that watching so to me it would be like saying you're going to watch the live finale of The Handmaid's Tale, which has been going on for 40 years, and the live finale is a spectacle, a worldwide spectacle, will draw over 1 million viewers and sell out a football-sized stadium 2 nights in a row.
That's great. The fact
So
that
I'd like
other
to see
people
what
like
it's
the show
about.
doesn't
I want to see
mean-
what it's about.
But I've never seen the show. I don't know the characters.
You don't
I don't know
need
the
to.
story. I don't know anything involved.
Yeah.
So why would I want to go see a dramatic representation or presentation live of a show that I don't know anything about?
Because there still
Does that
are
make
going to
sense?
be.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
Look, I am past the day and age of when I was a pain in the you-know-what, sarcastic, snarky sports talk radio guy.
You?
Taking shots at
No
people
way.
that watch wrestling, taking shots at people that, I did every troll of wrestling imaginable.
Why?
When I was a daily talk show.
Why did you
I'm
hate
over
it so
that
much?
Because I find, I don't know.
These are
find
like
it
things
childish
fundamentally
and
at our
silly, but
cores that are.
I'm beyond that. Like, if you like it, you like it. I don't care. Like, I'm an adult. I don't care. Watch whatever you want to watch. I'm just saying it's not a show that I watch.
Yeah.
When I sit down at the couch to take an hour out of my night
Yeah.
to watch a show, that's not a show that I watch. And to me, it is nothing more than a show. It is a scripted,
Yep.
dramatic presentation. They happen to be athletes,
Yep.
but it is a scripted, dramatic presentation. So I'm not going to go watch a live performance if I've never seen the show and don't care about the characters.
Well, I guess I will
That's all.
if I get back in the ring for a second match. I'm not inviting you. That's for sure. You're not welcome.
I would be
You're
there
not
to
wel-
support
you're not
you.
welcome, no.
That's totally different. I would be there to support
Well,
you.
I do have a bunch of friends who
different.
wrestle that I like to see, but that's interesting. I hear what you're saying. I'm surprised that you were so
That's
like
how I
because
view
we're of similar age. So you were never like, even as a kid when it was kind of really a part of Americana, like Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man and Roddy Piper and all that?
Sure. When I was a kid, I watched a little bit.
Okay.
Like I remember Coco Beware.
Yeah, sure, the Birdman.
The British
Bulldogs. Yeah.
Like I remember that era, but I
Yeah.
didn't care. Like,
Got it.
It was
Yeah,
something where if it was on, you watched for a minute,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I watched a little bit of that era. I loved Mr. Perfect. I loved Rick Rude, and I loved the Macho Man. And Hogan I liked, but I didn't like. I was not a crazy Hulkamaniac. And then when I really got back into it was in college when it was like the Monday Night Wars, when you had Hogan in the NWO and WCW and The Rock and Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon in the WWF, like late 90s, early 2000. That's when it was. And that's like the reality is that's the peak of the business, I would say. That's when it was great.
I'm happy.
Like, do you know what NWO stands for?
NWO?
Yeah.
No, but I still have my original NWA cassettes.
Okay,
with
NWA.
MC Ren and Dr. Dre and the DOC and Eazy-E. Right? I have my
Of
NWA
course,
cassettes.
dude. Yes.
Yeah.
I like the NWA. NWA was
But
great.
NWO, I have no idea what the NWO
Stood for New
What is
World
the
Order.
NWO?
That was as big as wrestling ever got.
No idea what that would mean.
Okay. So, yeah. So
But
the spectacle.
I'm in the studio now where
I get it.
I used to do a daily show with Michael Thompson, Clay's dad.
Uh-huh.
And,
Yeah, former
legendary
Laker.
first overall pick,
Yeah.
Michael Thompson, NBA champion Michael Thompson.
Yep.
Dear friend Michael Thompson, who is the biggest wrestling fan on earth, and I would have to have these conversations with him every single day. I'd be trying to do a show.
Yeah.
And then he would just interrupt me about something he saw last night watching wrestling. He was like, "How do you not watch?" And I'm like, I don't know. And then he would bring all these wrestlers into the studio, and I wouldn't know what to say to him. Like, he'd bring in, I don't even remember their names. There's like an Irish dude. Is there a Sheamus?
Yes. Sheamus. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, he came in.
Yeah.
I'm like, Michael, you
Former
do the interview.
champion.
Like, I'll get us in and out of break. I just don't know what to say.
He says fella a lot. He probably said, hey, fella.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I dined with Sheamus at Bottega Louie in down there in L.A. one time. True story. After a SummerSlam. They used to run SummerSlam in Staples every year for a little while, which is probably when you get, if that was a long time ago. We're going at least 15 plus years ago. They ran Staples like 4 years in a row for SummerSlam. But that might have been when you get some people in there. I don't know. That's good. So here's my one last argument, and not pro wrestling in any way, but just more about going into an experience that you think you don't really know anything about, but just somebody's like, you got to go for the environment of it. And that's what I would say to you more is just the spectacle of it, the grandeur.
I totally get that. And maybe I would. It's just not something.
No. That's fine. I never was like a Fish guy, like a jam band guy. Mm-hmm. That was not my genre of music.
But you know some of the songs.
I did not going in. So at the time, I did not know.
Okay.
Now I know a lot of Fish songs. But I was invited by the guy who was my then producer at CBS Sports. He's like, listen, I was doing fantasy football show on Sunday mornings for CBS in New York, and Fish plays the Garden like 4 nights in a row around New Year's every year. And he was like, we're going. And I'm like, Fish. He's like, trust me. Like, you'll come. It's just it's an experience. And that's what it was. And now I like Fish, and I've probably seen them, not like a real Fish person, but I've seen them over 5 times. It's just a fun a fun show.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I just don't know any of the characters whatsoever. But
fair enough. All right. That's not on your bucket list. I wrote it down for you as a potential bucket list. Crossed off the list. Crossed off the list. It's not on my list. I've been there. I've been there. I have done that. All right. France, Paris, all of it. What were the highlights of the trip?
2 things. Number 1, the French Open. Number 2, going to Normandy. I'd never been to Normandy.
Wow.
Was also
saw that
part of the
picture.
trip, also a reason why I wanted to go. I had, full disclosure, I think we had talked about this. I had already decided that if we, meaning the Browns, had a bye after our game in London, and that was uncertain whether or not we would, that I was not going to come home with the team. I was going to just stay over there and go to Normandy.
You were not pleased with the decision to play the Steelers in Pittsburgh the following week.
I mean, Whatever. It is.
Yeah.
It's not about my convenience and my travel plans. But I had that kind of
Sure.
in my head.
You can have the thought.
Right. I was going to take
Absolutely.
the train to Paris. I was going to go to Normandy. I'll fly home on miles or something like that. And when that didn't happen, yes, mildly disappointed. That said, I realized that I was going to be over in Israel. I had that trip planned, and I said,
Yep.
you know what? I am going to reconfigure, and I am going to check that box now. And the French Open is there as well, and I'm happy, grateful that I was able to pull it off, and to be in Normandy, to be at the American Cemetery in Normandy, to be at Omaha Beach, at Utah Beach. I did not get there on Memorial Day Monday. I got there on Tuesday, but I was in Bayeux on Memorial Day, which is a little town in Normandy, about an hour's drive, about 20 minutes drive from the American Cemetery, about an hour's drive from Utah Beach. To be there in Normandy on Memorial Day weekend was pretty amazing. And to be in that cemetery at 4 o'clock on Tuesday, to hear taps being played and to see the flag being taken down, I can't really put it into words, and I don't want to get too dark or deep here, but we all are grateful to the brave men and women who have lost their lives, who have taken up arms and paid the ultimate sacrifice in defense of this country, and who continue to do that right now, to keep us safe and to protect freedom for not only ourselves here, but around the world. We are grateful to each and every one of them to stand in that cemetery and to read those names and to understand that the average age in that cemetery is 22 years old.
Yeah.
And there are people there as young as 17 who lied about their age to enlist to take up arms, and they are truly our greatest generation.
Yes.
To see those names and to just imagine those stories, because you know every name. Even though you don't know the people in those graves, you know every name. There isn't a name on any of those tombstones that you read that you don't know somebody with that name somewhere. You went to school with, they live in your town, you somehow cross paths in your life. And to know that they each have a story and they each had a family waiting for them to come home, it is powerful. And I highly recommend, if anyone has the chance to get to Normandy, do it, because it is truly worth your time.
Yeah, incredible, and your pictures I thought were great that you shared. Did you watch Masters of the Air?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the stuff is, we sit here and we're very fortunate, as you pointed out, for it. Like, and you think to yourself, could I have done some of the things that people did in those situations? And you'd like to think you could, but pretty daunting. And what happened, and just people that haven't watched that whole series, but there's Big J. Master of the Air, I think, is great. Talks and shows in great detail just how kind of insane a lot of what we did in the air was early, before the advent of the P-51 Mustang, which really, in many ways, changed the war and made D-Day successful and a lot of those things. So anyway, that's pretty good.
Brothers and
Oh, yeah.
Pacific as well.
Of course. Yeah, and Saving Private Ryan. If you've never seen that movie, watch it, obviously, there. So that's good. So we got a lot of stuff coming up here, but it's good to have you back. By the way, I can't help but notice, and nobody can see this on the stream, but I'm going to say it. You're that studio. What would you describe kind of emanating above your microphone right there on the pole of the microphone? No, on the pole of the microphone, there is something that is
this.
Yeah. How would you describe that?
It is just a red on-air light on the arm of the microphone.
So when you're just looking ahead at your microphone, that light tells you, hey, you're on the air right now.
Yes.
Yeah. That's better than that.
What does it look like?
Flying blind. There's nothing on this. Absolutely nothing. We have no idea. Nobody knows if you're on the air or you're not on the air. You have no idea what your mic is. You press a box that also doesn't have a light on it, and then you have no idea. I think it's very important, and I hope someday to work in a place.
Tell Gibbe to fix it when he gets back.
This has been going on for years. There's an on-air light Twitter handle, CBD on-air light, that advocates for its birth into this region. I would imagine left of you right now, or to the right of you, there's going to be on-off cough somewhere, like the on-off cough buttons in this studio.
Yeah, there's the console back here.
Yeah, mm-hmm. That's right. That's how they do it in the biz, folks. That's how it's done in the biz. That's a beautiful thing to see. I've been envious of that light the whole time looking at it. We were talking about Andor. It looks like it would be something that would obviously be in the Empire. Now I can't see it. Now I'm sad. That's what you'd be doing if you were here, flying blind. That's right. Ridiculous. Anyway, that's our hot topics of the day presented by University Hospital, the official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. Hey, we got to keep the not red lights on because we don't have them, but we got to keep the other lights on here in this place. All right, 100 days until the Browns open their season at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. Today, OTA practice number 3, which we will talk about when we return. And then we're going to do a fun one. And I thought this was, when I knew you were on, so something you can think about as we head into this break here, Siciliano, is this. Breaking down the Browns' road trips. We're going to go in order of your favorite to least favorite, or what you would want to do on the Browns' road trips.
Beautiful.
And then the other part, because you and I are similar in our affinity for good food, and every city we've gone to, you're always like, oh, this place. You always have restaurants at the ready. Favorite restaurant, if you have one, in that city or region. Done. All right, that's coming up next here. You are listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Add more fun to your fandom with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today and get $50 in bonus bets when you place your first wager of $10 or more. Ballybet, an official sports betting partner of the Cleveland Browns. Nathan Zagura and the voice of the Cleveland Browns, Andrew Siciliano, checking in from L.A. Browns had OTA number 3, so a different schedule a little bit this year. The Browns practiced on Tuesday and Wednesday, which was open to the media, and then today they practiced again, and I like that. Gives them a chance to have kind of a walkthrough on Thursday, look at the film, make any changes if they want, and I heard from a couple people, another good day for the young quarterbacks. Shador had a couple nice throws today as well, and that's good to see. I like that they're getting as much work as they can in because this team needs to get as many reps as they can for these quarterbacks. You have 4 guys competing for a job, Andrew, and normally, you're getting one guy the majority of reps. You're getting a second guy a little bit as the backup. The third guy gets reps here or there, and really to keep arms fresh. But in this case, you need to get as many plays in as you can, as is allowed by the CBA, so that you can just get the reps on these guys.
Look, you normally don't have 4 quarterbacks throwing a ball in OTAs. It simply doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So this is different. This is unique. It's kind of uncharted territory. And I also want to stress, and I know you know this as well, although it's difficult to cut this message or have this message cut through, what happens in May only matters so much.
Yep.
What happens in July and August means far, far, far more. But it is good to get positive reports about anybody, and that includes the quarterbacks. And for the rookie quarterbacks, every little positive step does mean something because it isn't just about the football. It's about learning how to be a professional.
Yep.
And all these little things do matter, but I care far more about how Dylan Gabriel or Shador Sanders, or Kenny Pickett for that matter, look against the Carolina Panthers in the first week of the preseason in a joint practice, or against the Philadelphia Eagles in a second week of the preseason in a joint practice, or in any of those 3 games against those 2 teams, and then the Rams the final week of the preseason.
Yep.
The final week of the preseason actually may matter this year.
I
mean, it
think
truly
so.
will matter. I'll say it right now. Yeah, those games matter. Baby steps right now. You were there. Look, you were there on day 1, Wednesday. I was not, right?
I was not either.
So,
I was down. I was on
see?
assignment. I was on assignment doing something down in Muirfield. But I've watched the tape of every day so far of these practices. And yes, I watched all of Wednesday and broke it down. So I have all that at the ready, all the stats. We got OTA trackers now, Siciliano. This is big. This is a big deal.
You find these funny, right?
Of course, it's OTAs. What I found, somebody was saying, I was doing on another program with Mo Pedman this morning, and I said, what I'm going to find more interesting than necessarily what the reps are split right now or what things look like, on the one day of the 3 of practice that we get to see, I'm more interested to see, do things change? Are reps changing?
Yeah.
Are there trends that we can pick up that allow us to decipher that they are pleased with somebody's performance and they are going to get more opportunities or not? Or do they stay exactly the same? That's more to me what is going to be more interesting as we kind of go through this and go through mini camp. But to your point, you've got an unbelievable amount of time before it matters, but I think you're right. I think that the preseason games are going to matter bigly. I think that training camp's going to matter bigly, and all of those things are going to matter in a big way, and that's going to be fun. I think these will be the most meaningful preseason games for the Cleveland Browns in quite some time.
Yeah, which is going to make it fun because the preseason, let's cut the garbage. The preseason is normally not fun.
Correct.
The preseason's going to go away eventually, and I don't know what it's going to become. I think we do eventually get to the 10-game home model or the 11-game home model in even years now for the AFC. Obviously, it switches with the 17-game schedule. Now it eventually gets to 18.
Yeah, don't you think it's to 18 and 2 preseason?
NFL,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 10-game model is what the NFL has used for years for home revenue and how they build everything, and everything is off that 10-game model. Roger Goodell does not like the preseason. He would like to see it probably banished or maybe made only one game. I think what Kevin Stefanski has done with 2 joint practices this year is the future. Obviously 2 of them last year as well, with the Vikings coming to town. It's the future, and it's where coaches believe they can get better work.
Yep.
They would rather have their ones-on-ones in a controlled environment with another team. It helps if you have a coach who's a friend, a colleague who practices the same way as you do and you can trust. Coaches want that. They won't just take any other team for a joint practice willy-nilly. They want a guy that they know does things the same way. But that's where you get the good work. And that's where I want to see Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders how they do. That, to me, means the most. And the preseason games, I mean, obviously that means a lot as well. What happens here in rookie minicamp does have a lot of value, but the stats don't. Look, I won't say what show. I turned on a show, and they had the stats up on the screen, and they're over-analyzing efficiency numbers for the 4 quarterbacks. This quarterback was more efficient. This quarterback had more touchdowns. Can we point out that, by the way, Shedeur is only getting work Wednesday really in the red zone, right?
Yep. It was a red zone period. Yep.
Okay. Right. So there's a reason he had 3 touchdowns. He's in the red zone. Now, that's not to take away from his performance. He looked good.
Yep.
Thumbs up. He looked good. But you cannot make any grand conclusion, whether guy's good or bad, from any of this right now in May.
Correct. That is a fact. All right. One thing which is funny that I'm going to run by you, and then you mentioned talking about the 18-game schedule. I have come up with, and Bo as well, we came up with a new, this is our vision for the NFL moving forward, and I want to get your take on it. But first, the funny, but true. Everything I'm about to tell you is true. The year 2002, the Carolina Panthers had a losing record. That January, the Ohio State Buckeyes won the national championship. The Panthers would open the 2003 season against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that year, Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, filed for divorce from her then-husband, Chris Judd. The Panthers made the Super Bowl. The year was 2014. The Ohio State Buckeyes won the national championship. The Panthers had a losing record. The Panthers opened the 2015 season against the Jacksonville Jaguars. J-Lo filed for divorce from her then-husband, Mark Anthony. The Panthers made the Super Bowl. The year was 2024. The Ohio State Buckeyes have won the national championship. The Carolina Panthers will open the 2025 season against the Jacksonville Jaguars. J-Lo just filed for divorce from Ben Affleck. Will the Panthers make the Super Bowl again? It feels like the Browns will have joint practices this year against the NFC representative in the Super Bowl and the defending Super Bowl champion. It's just history.
Questions. Number one, hold on. J-Lo and Ben Affleck were married as of last week?
Not as of last week, but they got divorced. She's been divorced since in this year.
Got it. Just thought. I had no idea.
By the way, this post came to me via the great PFT commenter, but it's true.
Okay. So get ready for Bryce Young's Super Bowl.
Bryce Young's I mean, it's hard to argue with facts of that magnitude.
It'll be an amazing test for the Browns and their 2 young quarterbacks to take on the eventual NFC champions in a joint practice coming up this summer in Charlotte. Buckle up.
Buckle up, and they have to take on the defending Super Bowl champions. I mean, this is a murderer's row of joint practices.
Have you told the Eagles yet that they're going to get knocked off by the Carolina
No,
Panthers?
but we'll show them the graphic when we're there. I'm going to show that to Brian Westbrook.
J-Lo's getting divorced.
Yeah, and the Buckeyes won, and one of the things would not make a pattern. You have 3 things happening. Actually, it's 4 things that have happened in each of those years. So we'll see if that happens. All right, here's my plan for the NFL, because I feel like, I know it didn't happen, but it feels like the NFL wants to get away from the division-winning teams hosting playoff games. They want to get to a straight seeding. Typically, I feel like when you kind of hear these things floated out there, it's for a reason, right?
Yeah, they do want to do that.
Okay.
Correct. But I listen, I have been on record for years saying that there is no way it was ever going to happen because owners want and teams want and coaches want the division title to mean something.
Yep.
and I agree with him, if you win the division, you should host a home playoff game. Owners don't want to give up a home playoff game. They don't. And I never thought that they would ever agree to do this. But I think the league office wants it, and I don't think it's for competitive fairness. It isn't like the Vikings had to go play the Rams. That game was in Phoenix because of the wildfires in L.A. The Vikings had to go play the Rams on the road, even though the Vikings had the far better record. The Vikings got their tails kicked, and Sam Darnold got sacked 9 times. So people look at that and go, well, that's unfair. I personally don't care, but I think it's eventually going to change.
So I think it's totally – I don't think what the Vikings had to do was unfair. I think that the notion that a division's record – that there isn't equity in schedule by division because of the way the schedule is done. For example, this year the Browns – and our division gets you have to play in the AFC North first of all, which is a very difficult division, and then you draw the full NFC North. So that is what the schedule that the Browns are going to play is not the same as the schedule that the Titans or the Jags are going to play. So to me, making it purely based on record is not fair. So this is what I came up with. This was just spitballing.
Okay, good.
So 18-game schedule, 9 home, 9 road. But what we're really going to end up with as we try to grow the game is you're going to end up with 8 home and 8 road games. The 18-game schedule, guess what? How many teams are in each conference? 16. Well, how about that? So you're going to play every team in your conference once. That's 15 games. To maintain the division rivalries or thoughts of the division, you're still going to play Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cincy twice, home and home, so that gets you to 18 games, right? You're going to play 1 game internationally every year. Every team's going to play an international.
Every team will.
And you're going to play 1 game and a domestic neutral. So let's say 1 year when we're playing the Colts, we decide we're going to play the Colts in South Bend at Notre Dame. Touchdown Jesus in the background. So you're going to take NFL games to cities that don't have, but have great stadiums, cool college atmospheres, things like that. That part doesn't have to happen. That was just something I added in to try to keep it equal home and home.
I don't think it'll ever happen, but I like the idea.
You liked it? Okay.
I like the idea. Yeah, I'd go play in South Bend. That'd be fun.
So the part of it that would stink, right, is that then you never play an NFC team unless you play them in the Super Bowl.
Which I don't think is ever going to happen.
Probably not. But that was my way of keeping it.
Because those games are – here's why I don't think it would happen. I like the idea. Is now that you have the cross-flex between the 2 networks for years, at least the 2 Sunday afternoon networks, for years, CBS obviously had the AFC and Fox had the NFC. Now you have the cross-flex where we're going to have games this year on Fox
all over.
That don't seem like, here, let's look. Like, for example, Browns, Packers, Browns line. Here, Browns, Bengals week 1 is a Fox game.
Yeah, that's it. Right. CBS.
That
always.
makes no sense.
None. Yep.
Right. So that's because of the cross-flex. If you do that, and you say you only play AFC, you only play NFC, right? You only play in your conference. Yep. I don't know that the networks would like that. I think there'd be too much fighting for the inventory there. I don't think it's going to happen. Listen, I think the reason, and this is the understated reason, the reason that the league office is pushing for reseeding and pushing to take away the automatic home game for the 8 division winners is kind of under the radar. It's the fact, and the Browns kind of were part of the story last year, it's the fact that they had trouble, the league had trouble, I could tell you this with knowledge, they had trouble filling out the national standalone windows in December and January last year. And the more and more standalone windows, meaning, say, a Black Friday game on Amazon, right?
Yep.
Or the Christmas games on Amazon and Netflix this year, or Netflix and Amazon this year because it's Thursday. The more and more standalone games you have late in the season, as you peel them off, Peacock with another Week 17 exclusive. They've had that the last couple of years. And networks will pay and are paying massive money for those. You need to make sure that they get their money's worth. And when you have those standalone windows and networks write big checks, if you take away the automatic home game for the division winner and you tell these teams, don't sit your starters late in the year. Let's take the Chiefs, for example. They've already won the division. Week 15. Patrick Mahomes may not have to play Week 17. What does it matter? But if you tell the Chiefs that Week 17, you're not locked into that home game in the playoffs that you still need to fight the other teams in the conference. Then you have more valuable games with more teams playing their starters week 16, 17, and even 18, and those standalone games are easier to find for a national TV audience. And last year, look, the Browns, we got flexed out of a game.
Yep.
We got flexed out of a Sunday against the Dolphins in the rain in December at home, and we obviously got flexed out of that Thursday night game in Cincinnati. And they had to do that because they had to give inventory to these networks. That is the reason, very quietly, behind the whole reseeding thing.
Yeah, that's what, and that's kind of with that thought when I said we make it like one conference. That way the seeding, and at this point in my mind, you're having 8 teams in the playoffs.
Sure.
So that everybody plays the same schedule with the exception of 3 games. So everybody's schedule, 15 games are going to be the identical on everybody's schedule. So it really is kind of an equitable way to do it. You have obviously the variance of, yes, right now Baltimore, Cincy, Pittsburgh's tougher than being Jacksonville, Tennessee, Indy, if you're the Houston Texans. And that way I think you also have the likelihood of being able to find games with playoff implications because everybody's playing everybody, and it's so locked in that these games matter basically to every game's going to matter a lot more if you're playing only in your conference, I think, especially towards the end. Because you're trying to fight for those 8 seeds. Like 16 teams for 8 playoff spots, the likelihood is you're going to have a lot of teams that are looking playoffs or competing. You're going to have 5 or 6 games that you can probably pick from each weekend.
Yeah, and they need the inventory. They need good games late in the season. They need – look, week 18, the Browns played in Baltimore, right? It was the ESPN doubleheader. They put the 2 AFC North games on Saturday on ESPN. We played the early game in Baltimore, then the Steelers and the Bengals played the late game. Steelers and Bengals obviously were both in it. Ravens very much in it. We were not in it, and we never thought when we walked out of the building after the game against the Dolphins, week 16, that we were going to play on Saturday. We played Sunday afternoon. That game flexed out of Sunday night. I never in a million years. Did you think we were going to play Saturday afternoon?
No.
We got the Saturday afternoon game because they figured this is the best that we could give ESPN. We'll just put the whole AFC North on. It means something for the Ravens. The late game definitely means something. They had, listen, the NFL Network tripleheader, I think it was the Week 15 tripleheader, they waited to the very last possible hour to figure out which games they were going to do because they couldn't come up with games necessarily that were TV worthy. So the league is legitimately concerned, was last year, about finding competitive games in December to make the networks happy. And to me, that is why we will get to reseeding.
Yeah. That's why, and to that point, I kind of like, even though I think it would be awful, for example, not playing the Niners or the Cowboys or anything like that, you're going to have where you have both conferences always playing each other. I just think there'd be more compelling games late in the season for them to pick because you're not going to end up with those interconference games that are not as, where you have 2 teams in from opposite conferences that are just completely out of it.
Yeah, I also love the interconference games. Like, look at our home schedule.
Of course, I do too.
It's fun that the Lions are coming to town.
It is.
I like that the Lions are coming to town. I like that the Bears are coming to town.
How about this? The Vikings will not play. The next time the Vikings, and of course we could match up with one of the weird one-off matchups, but the Vikings will have gone from 2009 to 2033 without playing in Cleveland.
That's absurd.
Because 17 we went to England to play them, and now we're playing them in England again in 25.
Well, we got breaking news, by the way, about a team we're playing this year.
Hit me.
Our good friend Tom Pelissero at NFL Network reporting that the Eagles are about to trade Bryce Huff, who is not at their OTAs and told him to stay home after that one-year bust last year, to the 49ers.
Ooh. Reunited with Robert Saleh, because wasn't he really good with the Jets?
Exactly. He was. Yep. Bryce Huff is going to get traded to the 49ers, according to Tom Pelissero.
By the way, when you said Eagles at first, for some reason in the back of my mind, somehow Howie's going to pluck Kyle Pitts out of Atlanta, and he's going to end up being what he was supposed to be in in Philly.
Maybe, but then do you move Dallas Goedert after he redoes his deal at that point?
It's hard to rely on him. How many games has he missed? I mean, he misses games every year, and I know this from fantasy. I know it very well. I'm a big Dallas Goedert guy, but he doesn't play enough.
Mid-round pick
For Huff?
for Bryce Huff. Yes, sir.
All right, how about that? So they get a little pass rushing. So do you think the domestic neutral thing, just to go back to that real quick, that'll never happen? That's something one time I hosted a show with Ross Tucker on Sirius XM NFL Radio, and this was something that he and I were talking about, and he was like big on it, and I thought it sounded very cool.
It's an interesting idea. I would never say never. The NFL is always looking for new tentpole things, new things that they can make standalone events. That, to me, is cool. I think you would run into the issue of, can you find new places to do it every year?
Right.
Obviously, there are 130 plus FBS stadiums out there.
Yep.
I would only say a handful are truly buildings you want to put NFL games in.
Yeah.
The amount of infrastructure, not to suggest that Big Ten or SEC football doesn't have major television, major production infrastructure. They do.
Yeah.
But the amount of the suites, the TV production stuff, the NFL is a very high standard. It is very picky as to what kind of buildings they want to go into. I would never say never, but I kind of like the idea.
I think it'd be it'd be an interesting thing. Like it would be, I don't know. It's like the Houston. Trying to think of like geographically, like there could be some fun. There should be some fun venues. I think that would be, and just it gives it a different look. Because I think eventually we're going to get to the point where not cookie cutter, but you're going to have a lot of different looking domes, but that are still very much domes. And you get some of those college bowls. I think it would be a cool thing to get in there. So anyway, that's a long way. We got a little bit sidetracked, but that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of radio. We're having a great time. So when we come back, we're going to kick off hour number 2 with a look at the road trips. And since we were talking about that, our favorite road trip destinations on this year's schedule, if you were going, and then where we would say, if we've got a place, where we would say to go ahead and eat in those cities. So that's coming up in hour number 2. And real quickly, because I skipped over this segment, Morgan Wallen is bringing his I'm the Problem tour to Huntington Bank Field on August the 15th and 16th with country sensations Miranda Lambert, Thomas Rhett, and Ella Langley. Tickets are on sale now at huntingtonbankfield.com/Morgan Wallen. Don't miss out on this must-see summer show. We'll be back with more Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, right after this. Welcome into hour number 2 of Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers for Serious Injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for your free case review. Elk and Elk is a proud partner of the Cleveland Browns. All right, we're talking road trips with one of the great travelers on this planet. Siciliano, what's your country count at? How many countries have you visited on planet Earth?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'd have to count.
All right, what is we did bucket list events. What are like your next 3 bucket list countries to visit?
My plan right now is to go climb Mount Fuji in July, right before training camp. But I've been to Japan.
Okay.
So it would be the first time in a long time. Countries I want to go to. I want to go to Egypt. I want to see the pyramids. I've never done that.
Yep.
So that's on my list. That is high on my list. That I would say is the big one. I've never been to Singapore. I've never been to China. I would love to go to Seoul, South Korea.
Yep.
Those are all on my list. I've never been to Croatia.
Oh, baby.
For you right there, buddy.
Yep, put that on the list.
I got to go to Croatia. That is on my list. And I've never been to Greece.
Yep, me neither.
So I need to check those 2 boxes, definitely.
Yeah. I've got places I really want to go that I've never been. Australia.
I've never been there, too. Okay, so Australia, yes.
I really got to get to see my boy Dabo out there. I want to go to Colombia.
I've been to Colombia.
I want to go to Colombia. I want to go on the Amazon, and I want to go to Rio. I want to see Brazil.
So you want to do Brazil for the Amazon?
Brazil, Rio, but I think Brazil, I could do the Amazon there, yes.
Yeah, I've never been to Brazil either, so that is on my list as well. I've been to South America a whole bunch, but I've never actually been to Brazil.
Have you been to Quito?
That's definitely on my list. I want to do my 7 continents is my...
Yeah.
So I need to get to Australia, and I've been to Patagonia before. I would need to do another hiking trip in Patagonia where this time I actually go to Antarctica. So I want to check the box on my 7 continents. I have 5 edits.
We have a good friend named Gary who looks like Larry David, so we call him Gary David, and he just did a cruise to Antarctica and had like the best time.
Yes, I need to do that.
Yeah, I got Southeast Asia, Thailand, China, Japan, all of it. That's definitely on my list. Egypt, same with you, the pyramids and the Sphinx. And then Greece, I've been all around it. Been all around Greece, but never to Greece. I also, for some reason, really want to go to Prague. I don't know why, but I really want to go to Prague.
I've been to Prague. I like Prague. Prague's cool. I'd go back.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's real touristy downtown, but, I mean, so is half of Western, or for that matter, Eastern Europe downtown. I mean, same.
Of course. Of course. I also think I'd really like to go to the Scandinavian countries and see the fjords.
I've been to Norway. I've seen the fjords. I have not done Sweden or Finland, but Norway, you should definitely.
Definitely? All right, I'm adding it. You know, the thing, that's going to be the hard part. I told Kayla, I said, I know even though we're having little zogs here, we still have to, we have a lot of traveling we need to do. We're reaching the point in our life where, like, you're supposed to do your traveling, so we still need to do a lot of traveling. We'll just have to take him. He might be a worldly.
You got 2 built-in babysitters and Bo, or Gibbe.
Gibbe. Peepaw Gibbe. On his desk now, he's got a picture of his grandchild, Peepaw. So, yeah, he would be a good one.
Give him another one.
Go travel. Let them hang out together. All right. We're going to go through now the Browns road trips, and we're going to go, if we have recommendations. I don't have a recommendation for every city, to be honest, but most of them I do for a restaurant.
Are we counting the preseason as well?
So that would be Charlotte. It's not on our list, but Charlotte and Philly.
I don't care. Whatever you want to do. I'm just asking.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. All right, so let's start. We'll go city by city restaurant, and then we'll do like our top 3 if we were going to do it for an actual trip.
Go.
All right. So Charlotte, you got a favorite restaurant in Charlotte?
I don't. I honestly can't even think of one. When I was down there, Steve Smith would take me to a restaurant or whatever. I can't even begin to think of a best restaurant in Charlotte.
All right.
Can you?
Yeah, I'll go Fahrenheit. Our local chef Rocco Whalen's got.
Oh, wait a minute. I've been to Fahrenheit.
Yeah, up on the rooftop.
Okay, so there's my answer.
There it is.
Fahrenheit, Charlotte.
Yep.
Done.
There we go. That's where we'll go. Fahrenheit for sure there. All right, Philadelphia. Great food town.
I got one.
Okay, I bet you do.
Zahav.
That's the Israeli place?
It's an Israeli restaurant that's almost impossible to get into, but a couple of years ago on a TNF game, the Hoff, Joe Thomas, yours truly, the great Colleen Wolfe is from Philadelphia. Colleen hooked it up, and we had like a table for 20.
Oh, man.
And brought the entire crew, like A-plus gold star for Colleen on that trip. And ask Joe about that one. They basically brought the entire kitchen. We never touched the menu, and it was one of the better meals I've had in a long time. Zahav is where we're going. Matter of fact, I thought of it this afternoon or this morning. We need to figure it out to get there for training camp when we're there this summer.
So we've got two places we have to go then. Zahav is one, which I did not eat at, and then one that I probably have eaten at that you may not have eaten at. Kalea.
No, what's that?
Oh, man. So the chef is the 2023 James Beard Award winner for Best Chef Mid-Atlantic. It is Thai. It's one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. So we were there last time. It was me, Hoff, and Chris Rose. And you couldn't get in. You couldn't get in for months. And Hoff, as only he can, makes one phone call. Boom, guess what? We have a table for 3. They had some of the coolest, I don't even know what some of the stuff was that we were eating. They had black rice cakes that had this delicious goo inside. It's Kalaya. It's still, we talk about it to this day. It was one of the best meals we've had and so unique, such a unique meal. So I would definitely want to go back there.
Let's go.
Yes. So those are, okay. So we've got.
So hold on. We need to add this criteria. Is it a restaurant that Gibbe would eat at?
Gibbe's not in. No. What's the place that they say? Oh, the Primanti Brothers. He would eat at Primanti Brothers if we were going to do a Pittsburgh one. That's where Gibbe would eat. Gibbe likes. Now he does every now and then he likes to get fired up for a little fine dining and get all dressed up. But Gibbe's more comfortable eating. I would say he likes to eat bar food, which there can be James Beard bar food. I mean, there's all kinds of good stuff.
No, I'm fine. It doesn't have to be James Beard food, by the way.
No, it doesn't. Fine. But I'm talking this place.
Come on.
That place at Kalea was, man, it was good. I want to go back badly. Okay. All right.
So we got the preseason.
In season, Baltimore.
So Baltimore's got a lot of good restaurants. I prefer, if you're in Baltimore and it is, it's not necessarily, we're there early in the year, so it's kind of still soft shell season.
Okay.
We're going to be there in September.
Okay.
So I say let's go to Jimmy's. Jimmy's Seafood, which is probably about a 10-minute drive from where we normally stay, or at least where we stayed last year in Baltimore, where most teams stay. It's legendary. They love their athletes. They love their sports teams. You walk in there, it's 3 levels. Look, they do a great job marketing, but they love their sports. They'll take care of us. You get the crabs, they dump the crabs out on the table. There are locals that may argue that there are better places than Jimmy's, but they won't argue that Jimmy's is one of the best. So we're going to Jimmy's, and you're going to get soft shells. If you don't like soft shells, you're going to get amazing seafood, and you're going to stuff your face the night before the game.
So here's the only pushback I'll give on that is that typically, or at least it has been for the last 5 years, Jimmy's is our post-game meal as we board the plane. And let me tell you something. Those crab cakes are insane. It's pure crab. Lump, delicious. Their food is, I've never actually eaten dinner there, but I've eaten it probably many, many times after a game, it is a delight. It is a treat. But that's very good. I love the place we went last year. That's just for whatever reason that place is I know it has nothing to do with Baltimore or the culture. Good. Azumi.
No, the place was good.
I just love it. I love Azumi. First time I was ever on the road there, that's where I was taken, and that's just my Baltimore spot. I go there all the time. Gibbe has eaten there with the Undersecretary of the Navy, Thomas Modley, and his lovely wife, Robin. We've eaten at Azumi. I've eaten at Azumi a great many times with a great many people, including yourself, and I love it. All right, at Detroit. Not really a recommended road trip. It's a game, honestly, for me that if I can drive in the morning of, I will. I have not necessarily. I don't recall having a great meal in Detroit. I'm sure I have. I just don't recall.
I honestly, I have spent one night in downtown Detroit in the last 15 years. Whenever I would go there,
It's been a long time.
I'd get there on a training camp tour at like midnight.
Yeah.
Everything would be closed, or we would stay out in Allen Park by their facility, which is closer to the airport than it is to downtown. When I was there a couple of years ago, it was like on a Monday night, and every single notable restaurant downtown was closed. I think I might have gotten like Jimmy John's or something instead. So I do not have a legitimate restaurant recommendation for you.
Maybe I'd go to Mom's Spaghetti for Eminem.
Is that actually a place? Or is
Yeah,
that
I think
just
it's a
joke?
walk-in. I think you can. I do think you can walk into it. I think it's like. I don't think it's like a sit-down. Eminem Mom's Spaghetti. Let's see. Home sauce merch. There used to be a place you could walk into that was over by the hockey arena. I don't know if it might
It's
not
right by Comerica Park.
by Comerica.
actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it still exists.
Yeah, it says open, so
there you
it
go.
says it still exists.
All right, there you go.
There you go, little Mom's
Eminem
Spaghetti.
will cook for you when we're there.
My first time on the sidelines on the road was in Detroit back in 2014. All right.
Did we win?
I want to say so. Why not? So some John football action.
Okay. Sure. Go for it.
All right. London, England.
Okay. I got one. It's a Thai restaurant.
Okay. I'm in. You have me.
It
Yeah.
is. It's unbelievable. It's one of the better meals I've had in a long, long time. I ate there last year when I was in London. It's in Soho. It's called Kiln, K-I-L-N. Kiln. It is not big. You could sit at the counter. You need a reservation. They have some tables. It will blow you away. Kiln, K-I-L-N. We are going in London.
Love that. All right. I was going to say Sumo-san Twiga. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
All right. It's in Knightsbridge. The menu, it is so unique. And I ate there in 2017 at the recommendation of somebody. It's in Knightsbridge. The menu is 2 pages. The left page is like the best Italian restaurant you've ever been in. And then the right page is sushi and Japanese. It is so unique, I don't even really understand it. Now, what's very wild about it is you have this a la carte menu, so you can get some Italian stuff, get some Japanese stuff. And then there's a floor that's got a DJ, and basically it just turns into a club as you're eating this.
I've never heard of an Italian-Japanese restaurant.
It's a cool place. The food was outstanding, as I'm sure is the case with many things in London. Not cheap. And then it turns into a full-on club.
and then you're popping bottles on top of a table.
Yeah, it was so unique because it's white tablecloth until it's a club. But their sushi was great. Some of the Japanese kind of dishes were awesome. And it was very unique. It's unlike any place I've ever eaten before or since. So they have, like I said, literally everything that you could want, from sushi on one side, and then they've got all these unbelievable, they have Italian mains. You could get a taglione lobster. You can get arrabbiata, black truffle ravioli, a tomahawk steak, veal milanese, and then you can also be eating like ribeye A4 Japanese Wagyu or a Wagyu Sando sandwich. It's just craziness. It's the most unique menu I've ever
Have we figured
seen.
out how many nights we're going to be there? Like, when are we going to London? Do we know yet?
I think I don't know this for sure. This is me just speculating based on what I think I would know. I think we're going to red eye it out Wednesday, get in Thursday morning.
Got it.
And then we'd fly home after the game Sunday. That's a guess.
So
Those aren't scores. That's just a guess.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 3 nights.
3 nights. Yep.
Done.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. All right. We are on to Pittsburgh. That's Gibbe must have written this rundown from Italy. I said Primanti Brothers. Other than that, I'm not. I don't know. That's a game I drive in for.
I mean, I would do that. No, that's fine. I'm trying to think. There are better restaurants there, certainly. I actually went to a sushi place there last year by myself. You weren't there yet. You drove in morning of.
I drive, morning of for Pittsburgh. I don't need to spend any time in that city.
Gibbe and Fila all went to an Irish pub. I met them later.
Okay. I will say, though, one of the reasons
got a nice quiet meal by myself.
I don't eat the night before so I can come in and have the greatest nachos in the history of the world, obviously in the Pittsburgh Steelers press box, as Gibbe has dubbed them to be the best nachos in the world, which are just basically a giant bag of Tostitos rounds that are dropped into a self-serve thing and melted just random, regular yellow nacho cheese. Far from the greatest nachos in the world.
Before the overrated Renegade?
Yes, there, you said it. All right, New England. I have to say Boston is domestically at my bucket list city. I've never been to Boston.
You've never been to downtown Boston?
Never.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's like my.
I mean, Boston's got amazing restaurants.
That's my number one domestic.
Anywhere near
bucket
Boston.
list. No, we'll probably be in Providence.
You are nowhere. Or you stay in Foxborough. There's a Marriott at the stadium.
We did not do that last time. Last time we were there, we stayed at. So I was only there, and this was 2 times ago because the last time we were there, I had COVID, so I missed that game where we were blown out by the New England Patriots. I missed that one, which was 21. I want to say, 21. I was there in 17, and we stayed in Providence that time. But I don't have a restaurant.
I mean, can I say the Dunkin' Donuts at Patriots Place?
Of course you can. You can say whatever you want.
That?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Let's go to the Dunkin' Donuts at Patriots Place, right across the street from the TB12, or what used to be the TB12 before it. I don't think there's a TB12 there anymore. Dude, I haven't been to a game. How about that? I've never been to a game in Foxborough. I've been to training camp there a whole bunch. I've never actually been to a game. No, I take it back. Once. I went to one game in Foxborough. Thursday night game a whole bunch of years ago. But I didn't have dinner. I went into town to see Did I go to a Red Sox game? I don't remember. This is great radio here. I have no idea where to eat in Foxborough. Period.
Me neither.
This is fantastic radio.
Me neither.
Yeah.
All right. New York City. This one you could have. There's the gajillion answers. There are so many good places to eat in New York City.
All right, you go first.
I love, just because it's nostalgic for me, Quality Meats and Quality Italian, because that's when I used to work in New York. I was at 56th and 6th. I was at the Parker Meridian. I could walk to Quality Meats, which was my favorite place. That's where I had the standing dinners with, Dan Patrick, and then Quality Italian. When they opened that up, we would go there. Had some of my best memories there. Became very good friends with the general manager, and that was my spot. Like, I love going there. Love it.
And I would totally be down for that. I like that as well. I am, even though we have great sushi in LA. I'm a sucker for sushi in New York, so I would like say Yasuda or something like that. They're better than Yasuda. I would say something like that. You're not going to go wrong with any of the steakhouses. I mean, do you want something crazy? I mean,
so the one place that I'd want to go that I've never eaten at is, and I would love to do it, is a place called Huso, Huso, and that is operated, and I think it's sushi operated by Buddha Lowe, who won Top Chef and won Top Chef also. He's like, Kayla and I love Top Chef. He's the best I've ever seen on it by forever, and this is his restaurant. Like, I would love to eat there because
I'm also
an
down
artist
for any David. I'm also down for any David Chang restaurant in New York.
Okay. This is like an 8-course tasting menu. This would be bonkers stuff. Like, it would be nuts. Buddha's guy's unbelievable. He won Top Chef 19 and then came back and won Top Chef World All-Stars, which were all Top Chef winners. He's the best I've ever seen on the show by a mile. That's my guy. All right, that's New York. Chicago. I love Hugo's. I can't go. I go to Chicago. I want to go to Hugo's. It's the best.
So you're talking Hugo's Frog Bar
Yeah.
right next to
Right by Gibson's.
Okay, so right downtown.
Yeah.
Yes, right by Gibson's. I'm totally down for that. I'd be down for Gibson's too, just for the legendary. There are better steaks in Chicago than Gibson's, but there is something about the old school walk into the bar, get a drink at Gibson's, sit at the cat. Like there is something about that. Look, I lived there in the '90s for 4 years, right out of college.
Right.
Some of the best 4 years of my life. The restaurants have changed considerably since then, but Hugo's and Gibson's are still both there.
Yep.
I'm also down, if you like Top Chef, for Girl and the Goat.
Ooh. Yep. That's a good pool. Never eaten there, so I would definitely be open to that.
All right. You should go there, too.
Okay. All right, that's it. And then last one's Cincinnati, and I'm going to say Jeff Ruby's because love the guy, love the place. But what's your place that you wanted us to go to last year that we should go to this year if the opportunity presents itself?
Hold on.
Isn't
There's
it
an
Italian
there's a
place?
There's what's the Italian restaurant? Italian downtown Cincinnati is Soto.
Soda's
fantastic.
Yep, that's what you said. Yep.
You walk downstairs. It's in a basement. It's downtown. It's only a couple of blocks, or like 2 blocks from the original Jeff Ruby. It is the best Italian in Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's kind of an underrated restaurant town.
Yeah.
I like Jeff Ruby's. And I like the Precinct where we ate last year as
fun.
well. I think good steakhouses, I've said this before, and it's not a shot at Jeff Ruby. I think good steakhouses are truly hard to distinguish themselves. They're all kind of, there's like a top level that are all really good, but they're all kind of the same. Obviously, sides and other things, they set them apart. But I think once you get to a top level steakhouse, they're all kind of the same. Either you want a steak or you don't want a steak that night, right?
Yeah.
And you're more of a steak guy than I am. I enjoy my steak. Indeed, I just have to pick and choose a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I am down for Jeff Ruby's. I will not eat Skyline chili. I will not eat anything that people in Cincinnati claim is food and actually is dog food.
Yep.
I don't want soggy spaghetti with chili on top of it. It is garbage. It is not edible food.
You know what I love is that your vitriol for AFC North rivals is really focused on Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. You don't really have, like, you still can enjoy Baltimore, even though that one probably hurts the most in some ways. But is it because it wasn't a part of your youth?
No.
Is it because it wasn't part of your youth?
No. Yes and no. Look, I grew up down the road from Baltimore. I grew up an hour away. So I spent a lot of time in Baltimore as a kid. We used to go to Oriole games all the time. There were no Nationals back then. So to see baseball, we'd go to Baltimore.
Camden
Yards?
I
don't have anything against the people of Baltimore. Yeah, and before the old place too, Memorial Stadium up on 33rd.
Yep.
I don't have anything against the people of Baltimore. I don't have anything against the people in any of the 3 towns. Pittsburgh annoys me the most.
I was going to say, wait a
second. Cincinnati, Baltimore second.
Yeah.
Cincinnati. Whatever. I just can't stand their chili. It is not food.
Agreed.
It is not edible. It's
terrifying.
Edible.
It looks terrifying.
Period.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am with you. All right, so 3 road trips.
Bengals fans to me are harmless.
Yeah.
Ravens fans are annoying. Steeler fans I could live without.
So my road trip rankings would be, obviously, number 1, you got to London. If you can do that, go to London. 2 for me would be probably New York. 3 would, if I was going to Boston would be 1 if we were staying in Boston, but I don't believe that we are. Those would be my top ones. Chicago's got to be on there. And then I like Baltimore. I've never had a bad time in Baltimore. Sorry. No, I never have.
I don't mind Baltimore. Am I still bitter and angry? Yes.
Oh, then Vegas, of course. Vegas should be on there. Yeah, of course you are. As we all should.
Fine. Yeah. I spent. Vegas is great.
You spent too much time in Vegas.
I also spent far too much time in my life in Vegas as the former voice of the Las Vegas Gladiators, where I was there 10 times a year. I was very young. I had a lot of I had a blast. Amazing times. But like after 5 weekends and 7 in Vegas, you just can't take it anymore. Like Vegas will beat you down in a good way.
Of course.
But it's a first world problem. You get to go to Vegas too much, but it beats you down. And I used to like that plane is descending from 35,000 feet. You come through the clouds, you see Vegas, you see the strip, and you turn into Vince Vaughn yelling Vegas, right? Coming down the 15 from LA in swingers or going up the 15. But now I look down out of the window, and maybe because I'm getting old,
Yeah.
and I go, Vegas, all right. Survive in advance.
Survive in advance, baby.
Once a year, I'm good. Once a year, I'm good, and we will have a good time. And
2 nights
hopefully
tops.
there is no 2 nights tops.
2 nights
Hopefully
tops.
this year there is no bogus holding call on an 82-yard touchdown that should have counted, that changed the season. Hopefully there is
Some
none
could
of
say
that
it changed
this
the course
year,
of
and we
Browns
get out of there
history.
with a win.
Some might
It
say.
changed the course of Browns history. I don't know about that.
Some might
but
say. Who knows?
It was significant.
It was indeed
It
significant.
was a significant turning point in the season.
There's no doubt.
We agree on that.
Yes, there were a couple things that happened in that game that were rather significant. All right, we will be back. We're just having a good time. We got the mailbag. We got the mailbag, Brock. Do we have the mailbag? No? No mailbag? Nobody has questions? Come on, get us some questions. All right,
if you want people to ask Andrew questions, I guess you can put it out there.
We'll do a mailbag.
we'll get a mailbag, but we also have plenty of things to do. We'll get your thoughts on the Browns roster and quarterback room as well, Siciliano. So get ready for that. That's all coming up when we return here on Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Browns fans, single game tickets are on sale now. Secure your seats today for the top matchups at Huntington Bank Field during the 2025 season. Don't wait. Head to browns.com/tickets now. All right, before we get Andrew's thoughts on some of the things on the Browns roster, I want to remind a lot of you as well that there's an event that was just announced, and I was at it last year. I'll be at it again this year. It's Kevin Stefanski's Keepers event at Truss on June the 12th. It's Night Out by the Lake 2025. Last year raised, I think, over $100,000. There's a live auction. A bunch of the Browns players will be there. All the rookies will be there. Coach will be there. It's an amazing, amazing event. Proceeds will benefit Hope Ignites, whose mission is to uplift under-resourced youth. Perfectly complements on their own mission, obviously, of the Keepers Foundation, Coach's Foundation. The evening is going to feature Coach Kevin Stefanski and friends' stories of impact and a shared commitment to building a brighter future. It's Night Out by the Lake 2025, taking place June 12th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. at Truss. And you can go and reserve your seat. To get tickets, go to keepers25.givesmart.com. That's keepers25.givesmart.com. Great event, great cause, and if you're a Browns fan, you have an opportunity to hobnob and mingle with everybody from the top of the organization on down, and the team, the roster. It's an awesome event, and excited to be a part of it again this year. All right, joined by the play-by-play voice here, Cleveland Browns, Andrew Siciliano. I've got questions for you, and I'm sure you've got answers. You ready?
That's debatable, but let's go.
What does the team need this year in order to improve upon last year?
What would they have to improve upon this year to
be better?
Yes. Than last year?
Yep.
I mean, a couple things. Number one, you got to score points.
Yep.
18.5 a game ain't going to cut it, and not to go back to your weapons.
Man, those are good times.
I think they've certainly reloaded, but it's got to be health, and it's got to be better offensive efficiency, and you got to move the football. You got to score. I mean, that goes without saying, but it's more than just the offense. I think we're hyper-focused on the offense. Obviously, Mason Graham, Carson Swessinger, the first two picks of the draft were both defensive selections. You have to be better across the board. You can't give up all the explosives you gave last year. You can't give up chunk plays in the run game like you had last year. You can't have missed tackles on the perimeter and in space like you had last year. You have to be able to kick the football better as well. Special teams have to be better, whether it's Dustin Hopkins or coverage or return game, anything across the board. There is not one area where you could look at it and say, hey, fix that, you're going to be a better team. They were picking second overall for a reason.
That's right.
They had 3 wins for a reason. So there is a lot to fix. But scoring points will go a long way, because I am comfortable in my belief that the defense will bounce back. I think there are too many pieces on this defense, assuming it stays healthy, which is always a big if, and keep your fingers crossed.
Yep.
It's a game of attrition. This defense will be better. You score more points, you're going to win more games, period.
Bottom line, you've got to score. We went through it. Scoring is the most sure path to the playoffs. Be an elite scoring team, you're going to get to the playoffs. All right, which position room do you feel the best about?
Defensive line. Don't you?
Defensive line. I like our cornerback room still. Denzel, MJ Emerson, Greg Newsome. Yeah. I like that room.
I do as well. I think there's better depth. I mean, look, I know tackle is a concern, and you get Mason Graham. You get Graham.
I think Mike Hall's a stud.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I same here. We both feel the same way about Mike Hall.
Yep.
It's an issue of when you get him back to fully operational on the field and availability. But Mike Hall, Mason Graham, Malik Collins, I like what you have in the middle right there. I think the depth across the board with Alex Wright back healthy, with Isaiah McGuire. Look, I know Isaiah McGuire didn't get the sacks last year.
It was darn good.
If you look at his numbers, and I'm not just trying to live in the whole PFF grade world, but if you look at the way he played the run, he's obviously played opposite Miles. If you look at Alex Wright healthy, you get McGuire there. If you get anything out of Joe Tryon-Shoyinka that resembles the first-round pick that he was 5 years ago, and I think opposite Miles, he could eat a little bit. That's good for him.
Yep.
I think he certainly has that ability. You saw it at UW before the Bucks took him in the first round. It's about waves, and the Eagles did not invent the concept of sending waves of defensive linemen at people. Jim Schwartz says his A team is B team. He's talked about that forever. But the depth is there on the defensive line. that I think they can really tee off and eat this year.
I agree with you. Another one that I think might be the strongest, even though we really haven't seen them go, is the running back room. I love the additions of Judkins and Sampson to Jerome Ford.
Yeah.
I like that, and I still would, the guy that I look at every day out there, I'd still love to bring him back as well. Number 24.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
What position room do you think still needs the most improvement?
So this one's tricky. I think the obvious answer is wide receiver.
Yep, same.
It's the obvious answer.
Yep.
Deontay Johnson's a wild card. I'm not going to besmirch the man personally, but I would not count on him because there are multiple teams last year that could not count on him. All right? The Panthers, the Ravens, the Texans. His story of 2024 has been written.
Yep.
It's about his story of 2025. If somehow that pays dividends, those dividends could be big, but you can't count on him. And I liked what I saw from Cedric Tillman last year. He had that month window. Obviously, it began week 8 after Deshaun got injured and Jameis started and he beat the Ravens and he had the 2 touchdowns. I wish we could have seen him continue to ascend in December. Obviously, the concussion happened and that didn't happen. But I think the rest of the league is sleeping on him, and I think the Browns have something there. But you need to see it, and you need to see it for a full season. But wide receiver, to answer your question, would be that room.
Agreed. All right, got a couple questions for you when we come back. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Nathan Zagura alongside the play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns, Andrew Siciliano. We're asking some questions about the Browns roster, and we're going to go through it as well right now. Let's go ahead and talk about this. Are there any players in free agency that you think the Browns should go out and get at this point?
Oh, boy. It's a good question. I don't. Look, when you signed the two veteran safeties, obviously that was a concern we had talked about. KZ and Jenkins, you fill that in. To say there's no glaring need, I don't think is accurate. We just talked about the wide receiver room. I know people have kicked the idea of Keenan Allen around. I don't know that is an option you need or want right now. I say at this point you stand pat. There really aren't going to be any free agent moves of note for any of the 32 between now and the start of training camp. Aaron Rodgers is still out there. Nick Chubb is still out there.
Nick Chubb.
So if you want, my answer would be Nick Chubb.
Agreed.
I just don't know that that's going to happen. My gut tells me Nick Chubb would fill kind of like the Kareem Hunt role this year, like in case of emergency, if there is an injury in the backfield, he is the first call. For Nick's sake, I hope he gets a call before then and somebody gives him a good offer. It is tough out there for a veteran running back. People thought that because Derrick Henry got paid last year and Josh Jacobs got some money and others got paid, that therefore, veteran running backs are going to get paid now. No, that's not how it works. Those were anomaly contracts for rare players.
And
I think Nick Chubb is still – go ahead.
I would say, and it happened in a year where nobody was high on the running backs in the draft, whereas this year
and
was
this
loaded.
Year was one of the better running back classes we've seen in the last decade, and that factors in as well. I'd love to see Nick Chubb back, so to answer your question, he would be that one guy. I just don't know that it works right now. Maybe there's a situation, and I don't want injuries, where it does work in a few months, but that would be the guy.
Yeah, I certainly would want Nick Chubb back as well. Were there any of the Browns' off-season moves that you were like, yeah, that was? What's your favorite move the Browns made this offseason?
My favorite move, I'm going to repeat the question as I think it through. My favorite move the Browns made this off-season. I'm going to say the drafting of the two rookie running backs. I'm going to tie it all together with Nick Chubb there. And I think when Joe Flacco was on the podium Wednesday, he said the same thing about, I see some explosiveness there. I think those two guys will fundamentally change the offense. I'm also going to – can I go coaching move?
Yep.
I think bringing in Mike Bloomgren as the O-line coach and to see how he to immediately – I got a couple of calls from people around the league that were like, hey, this is going to work. You watch, this is going to work. That, to me, was the under-the-radar.
But Tonio loves him already.
Yeah, you get back to what worked. I think Stanford ran power 18 times in a row back in those days, and I'm not suggesting that in this modern era of you need to push the ball down the field, you need to score points, that is necessarily the way that you need to win every week. But if you go back to Kevin's first year in 2020 when he was mic'd up for NFL Films and he turned to AVP late in the game in September, I think against the Bengals, and he said, you know how much I bleepity love running the ball at people when they know you're going to run and they can't stop it.
Yep.
I think the Mike Bloomgren O-line hire is the one that I very quietly pumped my fist for.
I like that one. I like Mike Bloomgren. I was going to say the things that I like the most, number one was the trade to go from 2 to 5 and get Quinshon Judkins and a future first to move down 3 spots, and you still got Mason Graham out of it.
Yeah.
I loved that move. I like the promotion of Tommy Rees to offensive coordinator. I think there are a lot of people that in this building especially that are very excited about that move. So I like that one a great deal as well. Who are some sleepers that you're excited to see in training camp? And they don't have to be like sleepers in the traditional sense, but just some people that, maybe aren't automatic surefire starters, or maybe people that are penciled in to be starters, but you're really excited to see.
Yeah, I mentioned Joe Tryon-Shoyinka before.
Yep.
I think he's one. I think Malik Collins is one as well. I'm going to go back to the D-line. I would love to see Jamari Thrash get a little run. I know you and I talked about him off the air. Jerome Baker actually, that was one who I wanted the Browns to get a year ago. I think Jerome Baker can still move, and I know he's got a nose for the football. I think Jerome Baker back at home, I think he's gonna surprise some people this year.
Yep. I like it. Some of the guys I wrote down, Mike Hall. I know he's not a sleeper, but I'm very excited to see Mike Hall and hopefully get a full season out of him. Carson Schlesinger, I think, is out of necessity going to have to play a lot. Now, you drafted him 33rd, so he's not a sleeper per se, but guy started 1 year in college, and now you're expecting him, I think, to take on a big role. You mentioned Jamari Thrash. Somebody in that receiver room's got to step up. And then the guy that I've been very impressed with and I really think has a chance to be a very good role player, not a megastar in his first year, but a very good role player, is Harold Fannin. I think Fannin is exactly what they want. Yeah.
That's an obvious one. Can I throw in one more?
You can.
I thought he played well in December when he got a shot, especially in Cincinnati back at home. Jawan Briggs made some plays last year.
Yeah, he certainly did. And he is a big, strong guy.
I remember asking Jacques Cesaire, the Browns D-line coach, at one point last year when we were getting ready to play the Chargers. Remember, the Chargers have Scott Matlock, the former Boise State defensive tackle, who's playing fullback last year, kind of going back and forth. He was a two-way guy. Before Travis Hunter, Scott Matlock was playing both ways last year all year for the Chargers. And I asked Jacques, hey, who's the guy in your room that could do that? And he said, Jawan Briggs.
Wow.
Before Jawan Briggs ever got elevated and ever got in a game, he's got something there.
Jawan Briggs. Write that one down. That was a good nugget there from Andrew Siciliano. All right, so much more to come as we wrap it up here on a Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Wrapping it up here on a Friday. Hope you all have a great weekend. Andrew, as always, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Love you, man.
Yeah, love you too, brother.
Pleasure's
love you too.
all mine.
By the way, I'll be seeing you in about. Actually, I probably won't see you for a few days after that, but you'll be in town for minicamp in 10 days. The birth date of little Zogs. You'll be arriving in Cleveland.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's go.
We should do the show live from the hospital.
Live from the hospital, June 9th. Let's go. Maybe we'll do it. All right. For Andrew Siciliano, I'm Nathan Zagura. The Next Level is next. Thanks for listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet.